This week on the Big Story podcast.
There is complete lawlessness. The population has been completely ripped off their money through kidnappings and violence and all of that pressure.
A nation hit by endless cycles of violence.
All the united gangs in the country have one choice. Either they surrender their weapons or they will face the machetes, which are bois calais.
With rival gangs taking control of city blocks.
We are an armed group with an ideology, which is to live in a country with no corruption, where the state is working for the benefit of the majority.
Pushing citizens to forge a new path forward.
We get no choice. We are forced to take our destiny into our own hands. We're fighting to give Haiti hope.
Next on the Big Story podcast. Hi, I'm Joe Zarinko, a producer here at Big Story. One of the truly special things of working on a show like ours is that we get to be part of stories like this one, where the level of access that our correspondent managed to get is kind of mind-blowing, considering the danger and complexity of the situation in the field. Jason Motlagh has been working with us for a while now, and every time he's delivered well-crafted documentaries with human stories that are always treated with sensitivity and respect. So we were all eagerly awaiting the results of his latest trip to Haiti, one of the most threatening places on the planet due to kidnapping, mass murder, and civil unrest. Jason traveled to Haiti numerous times to report on the latest cycle of violence engulfing the Caribbean nation. This episode is called Lawless, Gangs of Haiti. These are the sounds of a night patrol in the Delmas neighborhood of Port-au-Prince, part of the territory controlled by the criminal organization known as G9. One of the voices we hear is from Jimmy Barbecue Cherizier, the warlord in command of the group. We see his face, but not those of his soldiers, who are all wearing ski masks or are covered by the shadows of a darkened sky. The fear and angst of the night is palpable, and we can only wonder about the civilians forced to live under the constant threat of armed groups roaming through the capital. How did Haiti devolve into this? Here's a little bit of context from Jason himself.
Haiti used to be known as the Pearl of the Antilles. But this beautiful and once resource-rich Caribbean nation of 12 million people is coming undone from natural disasters and man-made crises. Having endured decades of dictatorship and a series of foreign interventions, Haiti was struck by a massive earthquake in 2010 that killed more than 200,000 people and brought the country to its knees. In the aftermath, the government has foundered, and violent gangs have multiplied. Long deployed by politicians to exert influence on the streets, the gangs have outgrown their paymasters to become a law unto themselves. The most powerful group is the G9, an alliance led by Jimmy Barbecue Cherizier, a former police officer who has been implicated in massacres against civilians.
We'll soon hear from Cherizier himself, but let's first defer to the people caught in the crossfire. Even in the face of extreme danger, our correspondent Jason was able to speak to victims and activists willing to denounce the terrible crimes committed by gangs like the G9. This is Velina Elise Charlier, a social activist from Port-au-Prince.
There is complete lawlessness. The population has been completely ripped of their money through kidnappings and violence and all of that pressure, mental pressure. People are fleeing the country, and Haitians generally are dying from everything. So I myself think that the population is just gonna fuel more anger. And at some point, maybe the gangs are going to react, and there's going to be some kind of huge massacres before we wake up. But this, to me, will end in blood and ashes.
As ominous as Belinda's words sound, the depth of Haiti's lawlessness is hard to overstate. It spares no one. One of the victims willing to share their stories with Jason was Lordy Dennis, a father who lost 2 of his children as they were walking to school.
On Monday, May 29th in the morning, I sent my kids to school at about 7:15 a.m. At about 7:53 a.m., I got a call from a woman saying, "Are you Lubandi's parents?" I said, "Yes." She said, "He got shot in the head and is now in the Doctors Without Borders hospital." I got up and ran immediately straight to the hospital. When I got there, I found both of them in a coma with bullets in their bodies. This one got shot in the heart and the other in the head. I found both of them in comas, but unfortunately, they both passed away in the hospital the same day. Both of them passed away. This boy is the oldest. This boy had the potential to become a sports journalist. He has already shown me his abilities. As for the other boy, he is a champion. For instance, while I'm taking an English course, he has already demonstrated that he is better than me. He is a footballer, took karate, and a singer. These are the pants they were wearing. In fact, I was so short on money that I gave them only $1 that day to go to school, you see. That dollar still remains in his pocket till now. I gave them only $1 to go to school due to my lack of means. These are his books. They were making good progress in school. Long ago, this area was a safe place, but now it's different because of barbecue destroying all of the neighborhoods. Barbecue is like a vampire. He is lacking of good sense. People's lives mean nothing to him. I cannot stop thinking about them. They are always with me wherever I go. Thousands of times, I always tell them not to count on me because I'm getting old and every day people are dying in this country. I didn't think that they would leave me like this because they occupied the first place in my life. As long as you stay there, you are a dead person because too many weapons have been distributed. There is no hope for Haiti. Allow me to tell you this. My 3 other kids, I already consider them dead.
Contrary to what the victims and activists have to say about him, Jimmy Barbecue Cherizier presents himself as a freedom fighter of sorts, a man fighting on behalf of a beleaguered community against the indiscriminate violence of the warlords battling for control of the Port-au-Prince neighborhoods.
For the record, G9 is an armed group, but not a gang. We are an armed group with an ideology, which is to live in a country with no kidnapping, a country with no corruption, where the state is working for the benefit of the majority. We want the wealth of the country to be shared with all of the Haitians. Whereas a gang is a group of armed men kidnapping and raping people, stealing their stuff and killing them for money. They have no ideology.
Cherizier styles himself a social revolutionary, fighting against elites who have stolen the country's wealth and manipulated its politics for their own selfish interests.
This bad situation we're currently facing in the country didn't start recently. It's been there for over 50 years. One of the biggest problems causing the chaotic situation in the country and state failure is corruption. They're even the state itself. They decide who must be president, senators, deputies, and mayors. The more instability there is in the country, the more profit they make by selling their products at the price they decide. They control everything in the country. This is how they make profit. That's why any state leader trying to take control of their interests is assassinated the same way as Jovenel Moïse.
In July 2021, Haiti's U.S.-backed President Jovenel Moïse was assassinated in his bedroom by a hit squad of foreign mercenaries, casting the country into deeper disarray. Critics say Cherizier was an enforcer for Moïse before he was killed, a charge the gang leader denies.
Jovenel Moïse was a puppet used by the system in the beginning. The oligarchs have invested a lot of money to have him become president. But Jovenel Moïse, as a son of a farmer from the countryside, when he came to power, he ended up realizing that the biggest blockage is the oligarchs. When he realized that most of the country's wealth is owned by a small group of rich people, then he decided to change things. And yes, I truly believe that Jovenel Moïse was willing to lead the country in the right direction. Besides security, we help many kids in need to go to school. We provide for unemployed people. We provide them with means to do little business to take care of their family. We help young women and men go to the university. And they know I want what is best for them. These are all the things that make me feel confident. I am not scared. So a group of people that I do good for, who knows that there is nothing without me being present, will never kill me. They know once I get killed, they'll be there no more. I take care of my community and vice versa. They are always there for me when I need them. It is the same availability in relation to G9. When some G9 areas are in trouble, I'm restless.
Such largesse is hard to square with the massacre allegations against him. The worst, in the seaside slum of La Saline, took place in November 2018. Cherizier and a pair of Moïse administration officials are alleged to have orchestrated a gang rampage to suppress anti-government protests. Independent investigators say more than 70 people were killed and 150 homes destroyed.
One of those independent investigators Jason is referring to is the RNDDH, part of the human rights organization's national network. Here's one of their members, Rosie Ducena. She tells us about atrocities that have been committed in Haiti. And she says witnesses have told her they were committed by the G9 under the leadership of Jimmy Cherizier, aka Barbecue.
With much astonishment, we woke up and saw pictures going viral on social networks of dogs eating people and pigs eating people at La Saline. At first, the police authorities said that it was just two gang crews fighting. That is usually the case when tensions boil between gangs. But here it was a way to minimize what was happening in La Saline. We at RNDDH led an investigation and found out it went deeper than that. What happened at La Saline was a massacre. It was a government-sanctioned massacre. The goal of the massacre at La Saline, first of all, was to send a message to all the underprivileged areas not to go to the anti-governmental demonstrations. Because if they go and participate in those demonstrations, here is what would happen to them. We from RNDDH have identified at least 23 massacres, among them massacres at La Saline. In 2019, there were many massacres, In 2020 and in 2021 and even in 2023, several massacres have taken place. Jembe Charissier introduced himself as someone who is protecting the population. We can say that he is lying. When you go to La Saline, they say he was involved in the massacres. At Site Soleil, they say he was involved in a massacre. At Bel Air, they say he was involved in several killings perpetrated in those areas. Therefore, the population is saying one thing. Yes, Jembe Charissier was there with his crew.
Freedom or death is the war cry that resonates in the previous clip. It was recorded in a public market in the Upper Delmas section of the Haitian capital. The metallic sounds are machetes rubbing against the pavement, as the individual known as Lahab, the Arab, encourages the market vendors to defy the threats posed by Haitian gangs like G9, 5 Second, or GPEP. Let the machetes speak, he tells them, and that's just what it sounds like when they do. The Arab is the leader of a movement known as Bois Calais, a self-defense reaction to the country's steep descent into utter lawlessness. Let's listen to Jason's description of this recent phenomenon.
Sheer desperation is fueling a vigilante movement on a scale Haiti has never experienced before. In late April, an angry mob seized a group of alleged gangsters being held at a police station in the Canapé Vert neighborhood and set them on fire in the street. The lynching marked the start of Bois Calais, an anti-gang uprising that has seen large groups of people trawling for gang members with machetes across the capital. More than 350 people have been killed since the uprising began. In neighborhoods across the capital, banners call on residents to protect their communities. On a May morning in the hillside suburb of Pétionville, 6 alleged gangsters were burned by another mob, some of them just steps from police headquarters.
This is how Lahab describes the movement.
I see that as a Haitian, I am a victim of all kinds of violence. When I say violence, I mean violence from the government. One day, I see that the gangs of the government, together with the gangs of the streets, with the gangs of the business sector, they kicked me out of the place where I was living. I don't have a second country. I only have Haiti. I am defending myself to live peacefully in my country. Today, I won't let any individual tell me that the Bois Calais movement is not bringing any solution. It has already brought the solution. Starting at the Canapé Vert, they had guns that they were carrying. They didn't have time to load their guns. They suffered the Bois Calais movement.
So in the face of this desperate situation, what is the response of authorities? One of the interviewees for the documentary is Mario Andresol, Haiti's former chief of police. He blames the lack of equipment of the state security forces. He says they're at a disadvantage to confront the heavily armed gangs who are taking over.
When you talk about the police, you see, when you said police, you see, we have standard things, you see what I mean? Yeah, you know, like shotgun, like, you see what I mean, pistol or 9mm, you know, in a standard way, you see? And probably you can have some units with, you know, automatic weapons and all. But today you see the gangs have more powerful weapons, you know what I mean? And it's very difficult for the police, you know, to face them. There is a lack of measures, you know, to fight the contraband, you see what I mean? Today we see there is evolution in the situation. I think about, you know, the government, the state, the people we need to create, you know, some, you know, opportunity for us to fight contraband in order to stop the weapons coming from the United States, for instance.
This is Jason again.
But as the bloodshed worsens, there's a gathering consensus that a rapid deployment of foreign forces may be the only way to break the gang's stranglehold.
I think we need a force, to support the police, at this level today. Otherwise, we will go through the same problem, in the near future.
Andrusal, the former police chief, asserts the police force needs to be rebuilt, a years-long process that would include vetting corrupt officers, improved training and weaponry.
I think you cannot ask the police or the force, people, the members of the police, things that they don't have. You know what I mean? They were not, trained to face this kind of, insecurity. You see, today the police, has to deal with the public security. You see what I mean? Today is a question of national security.
Backed by $200 million in funding from the US, Kenya has stepped forward to lead a UN-approved intervention force. But the Kenyans are planning to deploy just 1,100 officers and have a track record of human rights abuses that have stoked concerns their presence will only aggravate the crisis.
As Jason points out, skepticism runs high among Haitians with regard to a new foreign intervention on their soil. Many people wonder if this type of response is actually what the country needs. This is Valina Elise Charlier, the social activist.
It should be Haitians' job to make sure that there is security in Haiti. All of have seen the international community or the UN ever do is come with a band-aid solution. And what we're seeing today, a band-aid is not enough.
That's all for the Big Story podcast this week. Thanks to our colleagues Caleb Lopez and Felipe Lozano Puche here in our CGTN America studios. If you want to check out the full-length documentary, we'll drop the links on the show's notes, or you can just go to CGTN Now on Apple TV.